Yeah, okay. Good morning to Sailaja and Vanita. Only two people are here right now. Good
Good
morning to
morning,
you.
sir. Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning. Yeah, good morning, Sailaja and Vanita. Okay, right. I think only two people are here, but maybe we'll just discuss. What is the news today? What is the main news today, which is related to our field, our profession, journalism? Kya ko bhi hai? Is there any news about journalists? Normally, journalists don't come become newsmakers, but today journalists have made news. They made a very famous news. What is it? Normally, journalists report everybody else making news, like politicians, ministers, criminals, everybody. They celebrities, everyone. But today we have news about journalists making a very big news. What is it? So this is essential for us to know because being in the journalism field, we should always be, updated to the latest minute. I'm talking to you about today's newspapers. So I don't know. Did you have the chance to read today's newspapers, Vanita or Shailaja? You all
No,
have a
sir, I didn't see
no.
today.
Okay, okay. About Shailaja? No. Yeah. Okay. Right. I will now tell you. Right. Okay. Now you see today, the biggest thing about this is that two journalists got Nobel Prize for speaking truth. Please remember, they got Nobel Prize for speaking truth. So they got what is that Nobel Peace Prize? Two journalists, mind you, after 86 years in the history of Nobel Prizes, Prize Awards, uh, two journalists got after 86 years. And journalists ఇంతవరకు నోబెల్ పీస్ ప్రైజ్ రాలేదు ఈసారి నోబెల్ పీస్ ప్రైజ్ two people were selected for speaking truth, and ironically from countries like Russia and Philippines. So they were the people, and Russia and Philippines are the places where democracy is totally pushed to the background. There is literally no democracy in these two countries. So the one is a lady who revolted against the government of Philippines in regard to drug, but he did a very good job on drug tackling. But in the process, he killed many people. Duterte is the president of the Philippines. He killed many people mercilessly. So, if, of course, not without any reason, but with some reason. But she was the one who made him feel. You see, then why I'm trying to tell you this is that a journalist's writing is so powerful that it embarrassed him. It made him a bit scared also. Maybe it stirred his conscience also. That is the kind of a writing, power of writing on the part of journalists. That is what is journalism. So Maria Ressa got an award, Nobel Peace Prize from Philippines for having, spoken the truth at a very heavy risk. We discussed that yesterday in investigative reporting. And similarly, we have one Dmitry Muratov from Russia. He is also another person who spoke truth against Putin and obviously, against the powers in Russian government. So these are the two people who got peace prize, and today they hit the headline. So today you see, journalists for a change created
Morning,
the.
sir.
Huh? Okay. So this is what we mean. Good morning, Swati. I've already started anyway. It's okay, no problem. We have this kind of a situation. So why I'm saying this is to motivate you, inspire you, and to make you feel that you have chosen the right profession by joining this course, journalism. Maybe down the road or 20, 25 years, I'll be late, Nagarjuna, and you will be, maybe we don't know, one of you can get this kind of an award, Nobel Peace Prize or any award. That is the main idea of inspiring you, and that, how people are recognized. Don't think nobody recognizes your work. 329 nominees were there, and out of 329, they selected two people for this Nobel Peace Prize, that's going to be given on December 10th. Yeah, it will be given on December 10th. ఇదేనా అల్లాటప్ప ప్రైజ్ కాదు, ఇందులో డబ్బులు బాగా వస్తాయి. I may be $1 million or something like that. There's a lot of money in it also for these people. Most of the Nobel Prize winners give away the money to charities and all that with large hearted people. On Indialo Nobel Peace Prize latest coach is Satyarth. Satyarth, who is very child supporting socialist, socialist who got a Nobel Prize also. So that is all about the role of journalism. And because you are studying journalism, I thought I should take 5 minutes. It's now 10:35. So we'll get back into what we a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. We discussed a lot on spot reporting, spot news, live reporting. We discussed about depth reporting. We discussed about investigative reporting. We discussed about interpretative reporting. We also discussed about reporting, how meetings, conferences, or seminars that do keep taking place. Maybe today we'll try to see, what we mean by reporting culture and social events. Many people, when you take a newspaper, we do come across stories of different types: politics, agriculture, technology, engineering, crime, of course. Then you have finance, trade, commerce. All these areas we do come. Sports also, sports very important. But we also come across what is known as cultural or social events. This is very important because many a time people are interested to know, readers are interested to know something about culture. It could be anything. It could be a dance, it could be folk songs, it could be folk dance, it could be dramas, or it can be street plays, nautankies, Harikatha, Burrakatha. If you ask perhaps your grandmother or grandfather, they will tell you what is Rasa Kanneeru. So we had one earlier Nagabhushnam who used to have a play, theatrical play on current issues, sarcastically pointing at the loopholes of the government of that particular day. So a lot of events do take place on culture side, social or event side. And normally we do report. You may not like Bharatanatyam, but if you are going to report about Bharatanatyam, so you will have to be, maybe if you don't have that kind of a interest or taste or attitude or aptitude towards this particular area, then you can ask someone who has interest in that. So the editor also identifies such a reporter who is interested in culture, social events. So many people have some taste to go and cover functions. So maybe to social, uh, you know, mainly social events. Social event and anything. It could be a wedding of a celebrity. It could be anything also, or a cultural event also. So you should have an what is essential for you is that you should be interested. A reporter reporting on cultural activities should be in a position to what we call it as have interest in art forms. Art forms, it can be music, it can be painting, it can be art gallery. Ravindra Bharati pakkana oka art gallery undi. I think Lalita, some art gallery is there. So one should be interested to have on paintings. It could be on artwork. So but you should not take this task in a half-hearted manner. You should take it in a wholehearted manner and cover it with interest, because you should know that your readers are very much interested to know. You have your own niche audience, that are NICHE. Okay, niche audience who are really liking this kind of art forms, anything that is reported on art form. It could be cultural program. Let us take, for instance, this Dasara season. If you go to Keyside School, you have a series of 7 days. You have this art form, cultural dance or kathakali or anything, where a reporter can go and sit in the evenings around 5 to 7 or 7 to 6 to 8, and he can cover that and then come and write, take some good pictures, and he can write about that on what is the drama or play that has been played. Like we have this 8 days or 9 days or 10 days on every goddess name. We have like that, no, like that, or even Batukama, for instance. So you can cover anything under the sky, as long as you have a lot of interest on art forms. As I said, art forms can be all these things. So this is very important. Now, and how do you have it? Is that how do you cover this event? One is what has happened, who has performed, when they have performed, how was it received by the audience, and so on and so forth. You can just report a news story. But there are other ways also. You can also give a review of that, or you can also give criticism of your own observation. You maybe you might have seen a dance performance of a dancer for 30-minute dance program. Quite possible you have a sufficient background of dance, and you are able to pinpoint some of the small mistakes that she or he might have committed in the course of their performance. So please remember, this is one important area where you will be actually looking into. Where some areas you might have seen extremely good steps, or you might have he or she might have done. So your review of the program that you have witnessed, for instance, you should do analysis of that. It should can be positive points of the program, negative points of the program, balance it out, and see that you have covered both the things. Don't cover only the negative part and then leave her completely high and dry. He or he will be disappointed. Also try to appreciate where she is good. I know, all of you, when we see in our children's progress card, where the child is weak, the teacher is writing, but where the child is strong, she writes very clear. The child is able to communicate very well, and the writing is poor. So we are giving both sides of the story. This is the bottom line for everyone when we have to do this kind of a, you know, reporting. It can be a review, it can be a criticism, and you should always have a thorough knowledge of this subject. By and large, if you are going to really cover an event, because your criticism should be backed with your ability to be assertive and be thorough in what you are trying to actually say. One should never criticize without knowing. I mean, I cannot just criticize. Suppose I have to criticize your mathematics ability, I must be above you. I should know mathematics better than you. Then only I will have some credibility to report against you in terms of that. So please remember it. So it means you must have deep understanding, thorough knowledge, and a tough analysis you should do. So normally, what are the areas that come under a reporter, a cultural reporter? He covers what are all those big areas. We can classify them as visual arts, like painting exhibition, like cartoon exhibition. Maybe we can have R.K. Lakshman or Surendra or Tintin or someone is there. I've seen 3, 4 cartoonist exhibitions. Suppose you are arranging, then really you can cover that also. Painting exhibition, cartoon exhibition, sculpture exhibition. Nowadays, miniature culture exhibition is also there. People do sculpture on a small candle or a wax piece. Also, we can do that micro art and all those things. So visual arts is one area where you can cover, and as a performing arts like dance, Rabindra Bharati, or maybe Tyagraya Ganasabha in Chikatapalli. Go to the dance performance, or go to music performance, or go to October 9th. Our Shanmuga Priya is going to give a contest in Shilpakala Vedika. She's going to give a performance on 9th October. Tickets are getting sold out like hot cakes. So maybe you can go and cover, and you can always, write about the electrifying performance that this girl who stood sixth in the Indian Idol, but then, Telugu people almost put her on the top with the kind of performance that she has been giving. She's a young girl, and still she has been young girl of maybe 18 or 19, I don't know. And from the age of 8 or 7, she has been dancing. She has been singing. Sorry. So music performance, you can go and perhaps write something about that. Drama performance. All these things, is it better? A good reporter will always go in person. And normally వాళ్ళకి పాసులు వస్తాయి, ఫ్రీ పాసులు వస్తాయి, because మీరు పబ్లిసిటీ ఇస్తారు కాబట్టి. So you can try to think about that. So one is visual arts, one is performing arts. Performing arts లో డాన్స్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ ఉంటుంది, మ్యూజిక్ ఉంటుంది, or drama ఉంటుంది, or fashion parade also. For instance, it is also an art. So fashion parade is very famous. France is of course the top in the world in terms of fashion designing and fashion parade, where you have to look at in a very holistic manner without any critical eye. So you can write review on that. You can also write on eminent artist M.F. Hussain. You can also write about him. You can write profile about so many artists. Maybe Gote Venkanna is a great singer. You can write about that people. So they're always on the lookout for interviews. Maybe you can go and conduct interviews with the Sri Ram. You can conduct an interview. Why he has become so popular? Why his songs are 1 crore it is hitting? Or maybe that girl. I don't know. I forgot the name. Who sing these songs? Particularly Telangana folk songs. So you can also, another area where a cultural reporter can go is Sangeet Natak Academy, Lalit Kala Academy, Sahitya Academy, where you can also think about, you know, Sahitya Academy, National School of Drama, or Hyderabad Literary Festival, so Sri Ram Center of Art and Culture, Sahitya Kala Parishad. These are all the areas which a cultural reporter can go and then report, write down, pen down the whole points, and then write a beautiful news story. It can be a news story, it can be a review, it can be an analysis also. So this is what is one another form of reporting that we need to know. So this comes in the category of cultural and social events. Another one is what is known as civic issues. Can you tell me what is civic issues? Anyone can tell me what is civic issues?
Domestic issues.
Okay, such as, can you give me an example? Yes, you're right, domestic issues, but give me some examples of civic. Okay, anything that is, civic issues.
um, Anything related to the requirements of the
Very good, very good. Of the
and
people, right? Yeah, basic requirement of the people. Very good. And you, yeah, now let me go to this. Okay. May God bless you to see me receiving this award. Okay, definitely. Lalita Kala Toranam, Shilpa Ramam. Yes, Kamala Hasan in Sagar Sangamam. It's a very beautiful way of reporting. But though some journalists took objection for showing him drunk. బట్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఆ రోజుల్లో ఉన్న మాట చెప్తున్నాను మీకు, జర్నలిస్ట్ ఎక్కువ మంది 80% తాగేవాళ్ళు బాగా. అంటే ఇప్పుడు లేరని కాదు, అప్పుడు కొంచెం ఎక్కువనే ఉండేది. మేబీ దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ వై విశ్వనాథ్ మేడ్ హిమ్ జర్నలిస్ట్ బై అండ్ లార్జ్ వర్ addicted to drinking and smoking in the sense they used to, but we should not show them in poor light. But then Kamal Hassan did his role. Yes, he is the one who covered that cultural, the dance program of that SP Sailaja, and the way how he criticized and all those things. Inado office, the shooting took place in Inado office only. Really, it took place there. Yes, but that is true. So you Rise Mangli. Yeah, thank you very much. You told me Mangli is another singer who was very famous, who became very famous recently. Hitting about crores of hits on for her sung a song, or whatever it is. Bullet Bundy or something earlier, or something else also. Saranga Daria also, for instance. Yes, civic needs, as Ramana said very correctly, basic needs of people. So civic issues లో రిపోర్టింగ్ ఉంటుంది ఎప్పటికైనా. One reporter is going to Esron Nagar, and then he found that a new crossover bridge is there. Now they are providing lift also. That's really a great provision by the government, where they're providing lift so that they, to encourage them to cross the road, not on the road, but go over the thing. Lift pakad ke wahan jaake wahan utar jao. But that is not happening, because one reporter found that the lift was not working, or the water has gone into that. Maybe small issues. No, this is a civic issue. Okay. Or or Shailaja was just driving on a two-wheeler, and suddenly she found some manjira pipe burst. She immediately stops, and then she perhaps goes to waterworks app, or perhaps she just immediately informs them. What did she do? She did the civic helping the waterwork department. Neil both and the pipe burst, and so immediately they at least cut off the water supply. The water should not be wasted. So every responsible citizen can also bring. So that is why ఈ రోజుల్లో ఏమవుతుందంటే, ఇప్పుడు మీరు కానీ ఎవరైనా, నాట్ నెసెసరీ రిపోర్టర్, who bring to the notice, you become a citizen journalist. You are called a citizen journalist. Suppose Shailaja stops and talks to waterworks department, then she is a citizen journalist. So, or she may write to the paper also. So most of us, we do write on in newspapers also. Many people bring civic issues to the notice of the newspaper. Like every Monday, Telangana Today and Hindu covers only civic issues sent by the citizens or people living in and around that areas where it is really affected. But not only that, the reporters are sent on beat duty for various things like civic issues. Maybe a corporator is visiting, or maybe our Gadwal Vijay Lakshmi is visiting, mayor is visiting some area. So a reporter is sent to cover the mayor's visit, and so that you can highlight all the civic issues in the course of your reporting. Likewise, we have what is known as reporting on crime. In case of civic, you always, civic అనగానే ఏంటి, ఎవరు వెళ్తారు, ఎక్కడికెక్కడ వెళ్ళాలి మనం, where are the places where we can get information on civic matters, like local self government, like GHMC, or you got municipal corporation, municipal council, okay, Nagara Panchayat, Gram Panchayat, if it is at further down, they all come under the purview of civic bodies. So where you can get information pertaining to drinking water, pertaining to electricity, pertaining to sanitation, pertaining to hygienic food. All those things are all what come under civic issues. Suppose you go and eat some stale biryani at a biryani point, then you can immediately report to the nearest place also, maybe report in papers also. So please remember, you there are always acts and provisions related to all these local bodies. You should know you have lots of and the citizens have lots of rights with regard to the municipal facilities that they get. Anything, it can be no reservation of seats, disqualification of membership, power, authority, and responsibilities of municipalities. So you should have thorough knowledge of how a municipality works, who heads a municipality or a municipal corporation, what is the role of various officers there, government officers, non-government officers, political appointees, all these things the reporter అన్ని అవగాహన ఉండాలన్నమాట. వాటర్ సప్లై గురించి, శానిటేషన్ గురించి, రోడ్స్ గురించి, రోడ్స్ అన్ని కూడా బ్యాడ్ షేప్ లో ఉన్నాయి ఏంటి, వాట్ ఈస్ ద థింగ్. సో it is the responsibility of the civic reporter to project these problems. The more he projects this problem, the government, it is brought to the notice of the government through maybe the print media or maybe through the electronic media, and the government responds. And I'm sure there is no better return of benefits to the people than this reporting on civic issues. Government normally acts instantly, and many newspapers take pride also. So Hans India photograph yesterday Hans India published this, and Hans India next day it publishes the road has been repaired. It publishes the photograph of both while reporting, and these two. So you can imagine how much benefit it becomes, how much beneficial it is for people who are reporting on civic issues. A very interesting topic. Try your best to report civic issues without politicizing. Again, the same rule applies for us, the qualities of good reporting. Same thing, అన్నిటికీ వర్తిస్తాయి. అన్ని ఫార్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ రిపోర్టింగ్, మన బ్యాలెన్స్ అనేది, ఫేర్నెస్ అనేది, బ్రెవిటీ అనేది, ఇవన్నీ కూడా మనకి ఆబ్జెక్టివిటీ అనేది, ఒక వెరిఫికేషన్ అనేది, ఇవన్నీ కూడా అన్ని ఫార్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ రిపోర్టింగ్ కి వర్తిస్తాయి. ఓకే, దిస్ ఇస్ వెరీ వెరీ ఎసెన్షియల్ ఫర్ అస్ టు నో. పబ్లిక్ హెల్త్ is also very important for us to know. So all these things, for instance, vaccination is going on, so you can try to give some reporting on vaccination. There are people at some places vaccination is, nobody is there, वो मक्खी मार रहे हैं, बाकी जगह में बहुत भीड़ है. So there are and अतिवृष्टि अनावृष्टि, we are having this kind of situation. So maybe sometimes you can also report about that. In some places nobody is coming for vaccination, in some places too many people are there for vaccination, and so these two extremities can also be exposed. I'm just trying to give you an example. So similarly, we have another reporting known as crime reporting, and as you know, maybe I don't know whether it's an instinct. Yes, you should ask psychologists as to why human beings are interested to know about crime. And crime can include nearly about 40 to 50. Maybe when you study MA, you will come across different kinds of crime. A to Z, we have got crimes actually classified alphabetically also. It can be anything: larceny, murder, bribery, embezzlement, terrorism, genocide. Okay, so all these come under what? Shoplifting, burglary, murder, white collar crimes, bribery, embezzlement, cyber crimes. You know what happened in Telugu Academy? The kind of a crime that has happened, embezzlement of funds, 64 crores, अच्छा खा लिए. अब सबको पकड़ के अंदर डाल दिए, 10-12 जन अभी they are all in police custody. So crime reporting is very challenging, maybe a little bit risky like investigative reporting, but yes, the more you report, the more police also will get up. Arey, why is the crime increasing? That's why NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, keeps giving it updates the crimes that are taking place over a period of time, maybe year wise, month wise. So September lo inne crimes, October lo ఎక్కువైందా తక్కువైందా. So you can take a graph of it and then try to see. So crime reporting helps people to know as to how they should be careful, how they should try to prevent. When they know, they try to prevent it also. So the crime news is not simple as it appears to be. It should be done properly. If you don't do it properly, it can result in the growth of crime. Actually, somebody may commit. So please remember, a good story, a good story, crime story, can become a deterrent to certain crimes. Are Babu paper lo vachindi, better not. I think people are watching on this. There is in spite of so many things that we are having nowadays, technology and help chesina kuda, crimes are increasing. How is it happening? So people are also growing along with technology. Criminals are also becoming intelligent. So this is very important for all of us to know as to why we have to be very careful. So everything or confessions made before the police, they are not valid. You have to again put it. So everything has to be proved in the court of law. So you should be very careful in constructing the crime story. Okay, please remember nobody is arrested for a crime. Arrests are made by the police on charges of a crime. Unless proven, we all know, unless proven, he or she is always innocent unless proven in a court of law, not proven by you, the media people, or by the police people. It has to be proved in the court of law with irrefutable evidence. You cannot refute that evidence, and then only it is valid. Otherwise, we cannot really, a crime report. Many times we are all guilty in a way. Media is guilty in a way for conducting a trial. बहुत बदनाम करती है मीडिया, खामा काम बदनाम करती है, जिंदगी बर्बाद करती है, चाहे वो एक्यूज्ड हो या विक्टिम हो. That should not happen. That is very, very essential for us. But most of the time, we do see that mostly in electronic media. It doesn't happen to that extent in print media because, as we have discussed in our earlier classes, in print media, we have what you call as gatekeepers. We have more responsibility. Though. So, obviously, any reporting is really very credible reporting, in print media. And as I told you, I think I quoted a couple of people like Deepak Pintu of Indian Express or Murray Ramu of or Deshpande of Hindu. These are the people who are very responsible reporters. And police also reads the crime stories in the newspapers. In addition to, though they are right in front of them, prima facie they are there. వాళ్ళు ఆన్ ద స్పాట్ లో ఉన్నారు, గ్రౌండ్ లో ఉన్నారు. బట్ వాళ్ళ అవగాహన సరిగా ఉందా లేదా అనేది దే ఆల్సో వెరిఫై, from what the reporter has got it. Sometimes a reporter gets better information than a police fellow also, because the reporter is experienced in knowing right, catching the right person for the right job or the right information. So please remember, this kind of a thing has to be very carefully uh, written, because you should always see human angle in them, human interest angle in them. Human interest చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఎవరైనా బదనాం అవుతే మటుకు లైఫ్ మొత్తం అది, ఇట్స్ లైక్ like a scar, it remains permanently. So we have to be very careful, we should be very, very careful in writing these crime stories, because we should protect the innocent people. We should protect the people who are even the suspects also should be respected till it is proven. You cannot take any, put any adjectives in your story. You have to be very, very careful in that particular aspect, particular crime story when you're trying to do, particularly when you're writing suicide news. So you'll have to be very careful not revealing the name of the person, or maybe some of the reasons also. Maybe suicide news. Hindu has made it an editorial policy to any news story. వాళ్ళ suicide మీద ఉంటే ఈసారి ఎప్పుడైనా మీరు హిందూ చదివినప్పుడు చూడండి, any news story that you read on suicide, beneath that story, for counseling, please contact this number. For suicide prevention, contact this number. So it is to any reader who reads it, and then he sees the suicide news, then he is also almost on that same lines. But then he reads that, then he may call that number, and then he is counseled. He is counseled. No, 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 అసలు అంత వేస్ట్ చేసే అవసరమే లేదండి, like that. So you can see, imagine how helpful it is. So when you are trying to write suicide notes, also see that you have authentic documents. Maybe abetment to suicide. Some people have nowadays video लगा के, selfie लगा के, video लगा के वो suicide कर ले रहे हैं और किसी को fix कर रहे हैं, and all those things that happened. Abetment of suicide. Please cross check with families, cross check with friends, cross check with relatives of the dead person. Don't jump to conclusion and put some wrong name. And जो जिंदा है उसको आप मत मार दो, जो मर गया उसको आप जिंदा मत करो. So this is very, very important for us in crime reporting. So please remember, if you don't report properly, there is a possibility of your being you're being taken to task in a court of law also. Okay, dead persons about inaccurate reporting, and you report that Nagarjuna is dead, and then tomorrow I can file a case against you. How can you declare me as dead and put so many people in, a kind of a shock, and all those things? I can try to take you to task if you report wrongly, or any wrong identity, mistaken identity. So you have to be very, very careful. Verification is very, very important in that. Another important area of communication is what is known as speech reporting. Now we know many people give speeches, political speeches, professional speeches. I'm not only talking about the lectures given by professionals or talks normally. So, what are those things? And then what is happening is the speaker speaks. It could be maybe a spiritual one also. It could be Jaggi Vasudev, or it can be even anyone who is a politician. It can be a management guru, or it can be anybody else who gives speech. And then the audience listen. So it's a public talk, okay? And then normally he speaks to an audience in person or on radio or on television. Now, the most important thing is that the speeches are generally most uninteresting way of imparting information. ఎంతమంది వింటారు people may some good speakers are there who can put the audience to sleep. సో సమ్‌టైమ్స్ దే ఆర్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ. అమ్మ మమ్మల్ని మంచిగా నిద్రపుచ్చారండి. మీ స్పీచ్ చాలా బాగుంది. బికాజ్ నౌడేస్ ఎవడికి నిద్ర కూడా సరిగ్గా పోయి చావట్లేదు. సోషల్ మీడియా పుణ్యమా అని. సో దెర్ ఈస్ అ పాసిబిలిటీ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఆల్సో హ్యాపెనింగ్ అండ్ మెనీ పీపుల్. ద కంటెంట్ ఆఫ్ ద స్పీచ్ దట్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. హౌ డు యూ రిపోర్ట్ స్పీచ్? You have to jot down. Don't completely depend on your devices, gadget, modern technology ఉంది. నేను సెల్లో రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను or tape recorder or something. You have device gadgets and you record it. Everything is recorded now. I don't have to worry. I don't have to listen also. I just record. I'll go home and then listen and then write the story. No, it doesn't work that way. You can sometimes write down important points, also record it, doesn't matter, because only if you record it alone and you go home and manakarmagali that device doesn't work or you're not able to retrieve that information, you're gone. At least when you record it and write down the important points, and if this deceives you, at least you have all the important points that you can make a story from the point you have noted down. Many reporters are complacent. They don't go prepared this way. But normally in a very good newspaper office, professional reporters make it a point to see that they are in a position, they are well equipped in terms of say recording device, in terms of pen and paper or a scribbling pad, and his own concentration while listening. So he has to take his job very seriously when he is trying to get. And at the same time, he should also try to have sufficient information about the speaker. Well, introduce Chayetsu, but sometimes they do give background. They may give a pamphlet to you about the background information of the speaker, why he is so great, why should I listen to him, and then sometimes some people give you even the speech report itself to you also. So reporting speeches is easy, we think, but then sometimes it is still too often underrated. So please remember, it is not that thing. So you'll have to keep in mind how you cover the speeches. So please remember, do thorough research on the work of the speaker, on the background of the speaker, and then carry reports of complete speech. Then you need not give everything. You can only take out the important point because you'll have space constraints. So you'll be able to see that you are in a position to do, or make a note of, or they'll give you a copy of the speech, make a note in the margin, some of the important points over and above what is already there in the prepared speech. He may read out the prepared speech, or sometimes he may not read out also. I have seen in the course of my working in parliament, I have seen speeches being prepared uh, before itself, okay? Before itself, and we print it also. We give the copies of the speech, which each copy is distributed to the press people. But sometimes what I mean, the speaker ये बाजू रख देगा, स्पीच बाजू रख के वो अपने आप अब शुरू कर देगा बात करना. And अब जब आप क्या क्या करेंगे? So you have to listen to that speaker. So what happens? And beware of impressive oratory. Don't be totally carried away by his sweet language, by his very ability to talk, or his sound, his pronunciation. Everything looks good. Sometimes what happens, they may look hollow. क्या बात कर रहा है? What is it he's trying to say? So he may look heroic, he may look handsome, he may look very effective, but then sometimes you have to see what is the contents. Is he able to bring any cheering audience, or is he able to do it, or is it a cold? Are the audience getting terribly disappointed with this speech? And all of these things should be kept in mind when you are reporting a speech. So you should also try to not only see the speaker, his body language, listen to what he says, but you must also, as a reporter, look towards your right, left, and perhaps behind and front also, the faces of the audience, so that you are able to gauge the response that the speaker could elicit from the audience. This is very, very important. And I'll just give you one small example of that. And then perhaps, then you can understand how effective a speech can be. There was, in fact, I was one of those who attended that meeting long time back. Maybe it's more than 25 years, I think so, more than that, 30 years before. There was a, meeting, political meeting on the sands of Marina Beach in Madras. At that time, it was Madras. I was just a student. I had to oblige my friends to go with them to attend the meeting of the former Chief Minister Karunanidhi. Karunanidhi is a very well-known speaker. He's a very poet. He's a writer. He's an extremely literary person. He can speak like anything. Now he was actually scheduled to speak, and the entire audience was there, and the audience were actually came prepared. They were very angry at that given time with Karunanidhi. They all came prepared with tomatoes and rotten eggs. They were just getting prepared, and all of them were there to throw these eggs and tomatoes on Karunanidhi. I'm talking to you in Marina Beach. But then he came, yes, they all were waiting eagerly. Then he started opening his mouth and started his speech. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, not a single egg or tomato has gone on his dais. All the eggs and tomato and the tomatoes were left there, and the people went, and the meeting ended with thunderous applause from the audience. Now, what has happened? वो कैसे गए पत्थर फेंकने के लिए और अंडे फेंकने के लिए टोमेटो फेंकने के तो कैसे जा रहे तालियां बजा के जा रहे so what is that difference between the beginning and the end is the uh, speaker's ability to keep the audience spellbound, mesmerize them, hypnotize them. In a political speech it was completely laced with humor, laced with sarcasm. So all these things are, for instance, taken. Suppose when you have seen this as a reporter, maybe at that time I was not a journalist, I was just a student, I could have perhaps reported about the behavior of the audience more than the ability of the speaker. So the behavior of the audience changed so much just because it was completely impressed by the way the speaker spoke. So speech reporting is very interesting, it's very exciting. It all depends on who is speaking and all those things. Some of them are very good speakers. Like Prakash Raj is a very good speaker. He's well known to be speaking straightforward, out and out, and his voice is simply superb. His diction is very good. So he's always impressive, not only in acting, but even not only on the dais, but even off the dais. So this is very important. You must also know when you're reporting a full house, you must tell whether it is full house or how is the audience. कितने लोग हैं 1,000 का कैपेसिटी है ऑडिटोरियम में कितने लोग हैं अंदाजा से डालना आप अंदाजा से कितने 200 है 200 मतलब 80% खाली है और 200 खाली है तो 80% ऑडियंस है उधर और पूरा भर गया और थोड़े लोग ठहर रहे हैं. Some people are standing. Ravindra Mati, some people stand. They put extra chairs, but completely full, and then some people are standing. So you will have to know. So the reporter is in a position to gauge this also. So having said that, we will move on to the next one. That is up to now. Any doubts, you please feel free to ask me. Okay, please. Then I'll go to the next time of next one. Any doubts you have got, please. हुसैफा कुछ डाउट है आपको शैलजा और कौन है रमणा स्वाति
I posted the doubt here. Are the journalists penalized for wrong reporting?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see this. Yeah, okay, very good. One is Swati said assault, rape, murder. Yes, they all come under crime reporting. Yes, Swati. Are the journalists penalized for wrong reporting? Now, the onus of wrong reporting is yes. Sometimes what happens if it is, I will use one word.
Give you the reason for this because being a civilian, I am afraid of, or I have the phobia of a police, a lawyer, or me getting defamed. But a journalist, he can bypass all these things because he has got all the roles and responsibilities. He can go and target any politician or any person for that matter. So, is there any way, that we can, that if I become a journalist and I would be penalized and I would be defamed for, and do I have any set of rules and regulations that I need to abide by?
Very good. That's a very good code of conduct. Yeah, normally we have a journalists, reporters do have some kind of a code of conduct given by Press Council of India, but generally उतना जरूरत भी नहीं है. Generally, what happens is that if the journalist's intentions are good, intentions are good by, but he's also a human being, you are also a human being, I'm a human being, to err is human, to forgive is divine. If that is a human error, and if it is, that's why we use the word inadvertent. I put in the chat, inadvertently we commit lot of mistakes, and that can be usko maaf kar sakte hain. But the kind of a thing that you are saying, well, it depends on the intensity of how wrong is your reporting. Is it wrong at one or two places in terms of 10 crore के अलावा आपने 100 crore लिख दिया, 1 0 has come more. Somewhere you have 10 crores, instead of that you have put 100 crores, or maybe 100 crores you have shown a 10 crores, or 21 crores, 2.1 crores you have shown a 21 crores. Somewhere some kind mistakes of typo or these things, normally nobody is. Yes, if you are, if your story reflects that it is looking terribly one-sided, terribly attacking, vituperative and deliberate, दिख रहा बोल तो आपको penalize नहीं करेगा. He may go to court and he may drag you to court. In crime reporting it happens, it happens in crime reporting, because you are not
I have a
unnecessarily
parallel. I have a parallel question here on the
yeah,
crime
please.
reporting aspect. Do
Hmm.
you think that the journalists are trespassing the investigating officers and the
Absolutely.
police? Then,
Very good. Very good question. It's a very good question. Yes, Shailaja. This is what I've been saying always. It is happening because people are wanting that. That's the problem with the people also. I don't put the problem on the journalist. Part problem is on the journalist. This is happening. Yes, Shailaja. Right. This is happening. Yes, media trial is happening. Before, people are also impatient. Media is impatient because people are impatient. Media is impatient because people are expecting something media to say. कब मार रहे उसको, कब मार रहे एनकाउंटर में, कब मार रहे चार को पकड़े, दिखा रहे 24 hours 4 people were caught red-handed in that rape and murder case, and they were encountered. कब encounter होने वाला है? So media is also under a pressure, and media takes it as an advantage, maybe for its own TRP ratings or anything. It does sometimes, exceed its limits, and it does. So I'll not blame media completely. I'll blame even the readers or the audience. Have I answered your question, Sailija? Have I answered your doubts?
yes, sir, absolutely, sir. I
Yeah.
completely agree
Okay.
with you. But the
Yeah.
only thing is here, though there has to be. I feel that somewhere the forensic services, yeah, the police department or the social are being randomly questioned by the journalist, and they have not been given the opportunity to give out the right information at the right instance. These are all like hypothetical information which has been passed to all the civilians, which is again creating a mess, and which is
Yeah.
again creating news that
Yes.
this has
That is
been
true.
coming to the media, but this is wrong reporting, something like that.
Yeah.
So
No, we have seen
we
in
should
that case
have
of
the
girl.
guidelines.
Absolutely, you are right. You have seen about that girl near Rampalli Crossroads, how that girl was claimed herself to be kidnapped and all that, and how she herself claimed that she didn't want to, she wanted to get away from her house, and how it was tracked, how it was followed at every minute of this thing, and how police had to be put on tenter hooks by the media also. Media was always telecasting live, and the police had toughest time in tackling this. But then, by and large, media and police and lawyers, judiciary do try to maintain, give and take relationship, though they do rub on each other's shoulders on the wrong side also. Many times it happens, and because of that, what you said is happening, because of the friction. Sometimes it develops, and sometimes it suddenly explodes like volcano, and that. But then, by and large, in a good democracy, the police, the judiciary, the media have to take certain unpleasant things in their stride. They should take it in their stride and get on with it, and they should have that kind of a magnanimity and a large heartedness to accept their mistakes. Some good newspapers do convey apologies also. You know that Hindu has a readers editor. Till recently it had readers editor every Monday, Paneer Selvan. He is the one person who is on your behalf and my behalf as readers. He is able to criticize. You can criticize the newspaper, and he is the one who used to explain why. Yes, that is correct. What Sailaja has said is right. and we regret that. He's the one who is pinpointing the mistakes. Some newspapers are very, very accommodative in accepting their mistakes and even regretting also, or next day they publish also. I mean, Hindu student editorial page at the bottom, clarifications and errors. We do have that also sometimes. So yes, I do agree, this media trial is one of the important things that we should remember, whether we should conduct a media trial. But then you ask media people, they will tell me the same. Go and ask in the press club, the group of journalists, ఏమయ్యా అట్లా ట్రయల్ చేస్తారు, అరే అట్లా చేయకపోతే ఎవడు చూడడు సార్, ఎవడు వినడు సార్, టీవీకి మాకు కావాల్సింది ఇది. దే ఆర్ ఆల్సో अब तनख्वाह मिल रहा है, हमें कुछ तो करना है. This is the problem in among the media people. Okay. So right then, shall we move to the next topic? Selja, thank you. You have any other doubt, Vanita, Ramana? Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Anybody else has any doubt? Right. Okay. Then we'll move to the next topic known as budget. Yeah, you can now, if you want, you can stop the video. Shailaja. Okay. Right. Thank you for your question. Right now we have what is known as budget is one another important area. Budget reporting. This budget is something which is uh, given out either in assembly or in parliament. What do we have? What is the great thing in? After all, what is there to report in a budget? The whole budget book is given to you. A CD is given to you, or now they are giving you a pen drive with all the information of the budget, and so many aspects of budget. So anybody who is asked to report, suppose Swati is asked to report on budget, then she should have enough knowledge about what exactly constitutes budget. Now, what happens is that budget reporting now a problem ఏంటంటే, you will have too much of information. But that much of information reader is not ready to read or see or listen on a television. So you'll have to put this in a very capsule form, in a very simple form. You'll have to see that the reader is able to grasp the information quickly, and then see that it is in a position to have a quick glance and then try to see whether he's able to understand the budget. So budget is very important even for for every person, because every human being lives on a budget. So he knows that how much money he has, how much he has to spend for, and all those things. Same thing gets on a macro level when it comes to government, be it center or be it state government. So please remember, budget news writing, it takes a lot of time and a lot of care, and you'll have to check thoroughly, through interviews with public officials and private groups. You can interview some people, why sir education budget has come down, allocation for education has come down, why, quite possible the officer may give you a response, no, last time we gave, they never spent it, that's why we are giving less. So you will put the blame on the departments for not spending the money. So please remember, uh, money is one dimension. I give you money, but you are not in a position to spend. So who is at fault? So the person who is not able to spend is at fault. So he maybe is scared, maybe is not properly prepared. So please remember, having money is not the point. How you are spending it is also a very important point. So most of the times the reporter is expected to know certain terms that are used in budget. What are the terms that are used? What is that nomenclature used when you're writing budget reporting? So you should be able to know what is balanced budget. So you should be able to know what is deficit budget. Okay, what is surplus budget? You should be able to know what are block grants. Mainly how what is block grant? A grant is given only one time investment. पैसे जरूरत नहीं है. Grant is different from loan. So I give you a grant. Grant is just एक ही बार दे देंगे, आप पैसा वापस करने का जरूरत नहीं है. So you should be able to have thorough knowledge of these little terms like budget expense. So what about the incurring expenditure? So you have capital budget, you have recurring expenditure also. Your debt limit, how much debt limit is there now? Telangana government is telling a lot about debt limit. Andhra government is unable to pay salaries and pensions on time. Telangana government is almost in the same line because they are unable to, really put the budget in the same way as they, announced it in the beginning of the financial year. So this is very important for us to know. So these terms are some things which you should know. what is debt limit, what is credit obligation, can we borrow money? Yes, Telangana government has been getting revenue for this month. So for this year they got revenue of 1 lakh crores. So because they are getting revenue, the people who want to give loan to Telangana government can give say about 1.5 lakhs, because 1 lakh is guaranteed. Aa jayega kaisa to bhi. So these are all the things. What is the debt limit? What is credit obligation? What are matching grants? So suppose matching grants are something like, for instance, MMTS, central government, South Central Railway, central government has given some amount for MMTS second phase or third phase, but state government is supposed to release from its quota, its grant, while 70% is civil, 30% ivala. Kishan Reddy is every day criticizing, మేము 70% రెడీగా పెట్టినా మీరే 30% ఇవ్వటం లేదు, దానివల్ల MMTS సెకండ్ ఫేజ్ రావట్లేదు. Okay, this is how it is happening. So this guy may say, because of Corona, our revenue has come down, or because you have not given me money there, GST money sufficiently, I am unable to give you. So then go దానికి ఒక లింక్ వేసేసి, there's a way of చెవికి దేనికి ఒక ముడి వేసేసి అంటించేస్తారన్నమాట. So there is a problem of everything. So please remember, everybody tries to defend or offend in the way they like. So please remember, these budget terms are known by the reporter. Matching grants 70-30 ratio, or 50-50, or public private participation PPP model. L&T, for instance, they wanted to have that. Now L&T is there. L&T suffered a loss because of Corona 2 years. KCR has promised it. They say why Old City L&T Metro is delayed because of Corona. So all these things, for instance, the budget provisions will be there. Then project grants also. प्रोजेक्ट ग्रांट्स एंड बजट में पैसा दिया तो इसी टाइम पे खर्चा करना है आपको, 9 महीने में, 10 महीने में. So all these things have to be kept in mind for the reporter when he is reporting budget. So is the case with when you are going to the assembly or to parliament, or courts also. Parliament and assembly, you are given a press gallery pass. Only accredited correspondents who are responsible reporters are sent there. They can sit in the visitors gallery. They can perhaps talk to the members of parliament or assembly in the lobbies or in the canteen. So they get a lot of hot, juicy, spicy news also from what these politicians speak inside the house and outside the house. Inside the house, collar pakad lete hain, outside the house, gale laga lete hain. So they will be, suddenly you are seeing so much of difference inside the house and outside the house. So आपस में you will be, you will be concluding आपस में हर एक politician एक ही है. So please remember, you should be able to know some of the terminology used in parliament, in assembly, like question hour, like 0 hour, like parliament proceedings. I worked in parliament for 3 years. I do remember, I was responsible for printing of every publication, question list, and all these things, debates, proceedings, bills, and all these things. So one should be able to have an idea of what is called attention motion, what is proceeding, what is our parliament, debates, 0 hour mentions, debates, and various acts passed in the parliament by the, what do you mean by papers laid on the table. So all these things are, taken into consideration by the reporter. So he should be able to have enough knowledge about the parliament, to a great extent about the constitution also. So that is all about what is known as reporting for assembly. And when it comes to courts, कोर्ट में रिपोर्टिंग करना भी है. प्रेस वाले कोर्ट को जाते हैं, they do come, they do sit in among the visitors, they do sit at front of the bench, at front of the judge. I remember sitting at front of Supreme Court bench. I just wanted to know, as a visitor I went, I just wanted to know how actually a case is discussed in a court of law. So you can sit at front of them and then try to see how the lawyers of both the parties, give their presentation, on how the judges listen, how the people at the front of the judges note down everything. So there are many times you cover court cases, you have to be very, very careful. So the reporter is better if the reporter has some law degree, because he'll be at least knowing so many acts and sections, subsections, and all those things. Otherwise, what happens? It will be difficult for him to actually report, because in court cases, it's sensitive matters. It is sub judice antar. You know what is sub judice? When something is in the court of law, we are not supposed to speak. I'm not supposed to report. But then what is to be reported is something where we can try to whatever is permissible, we can report. There's no problem. But then we expect that, for instance, to have a thorough knowledge of what is FIR, what is CRPC, okay, all those little terms. What is amicus curiae, what is habeas corpus, what is modus operandi, okay, or mandamus, or some of the technical terms that are used, which are mostly non-English words, maybe Latin, or maybe other foreign words also. So you should be able to have different idea about how a Supreme Court functions, what is the High Court, what is the District Court, what is the court at the lowest level. Other than this, there are courts other than high courts, session courts. We have magistration court. There are also tribunals. You should know what is a consumer forum, what is a tribunal. CAT is the central government tribunal. CAT is the central administrative tribunal. We don't have now in Telangana. We don't have tribunal. Earlier we had tribunal. When I was in service, we had tribunal. So you should be able to know ఏ కోర్టు పరిధిలో ఏది వస్తుంది. So normally many people are going to High Court, getting delayed. High Court without High Court giving its decision, some people go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court మొట్టిగా వేస్తాడు. ఎందుకు వచ్చినావు నువ్వు ఇక్కడ హైకోర్టులో తేల్చిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ రా మళ్ళీ అప్పుడే కావాలంటే. So these are all the things that a reporter should be in a position to know everything. He should be and then a person named in the FIR should be referred to as an accused and not as a criminal in the news report. FIR ఫైల్ చేసినంత మాత్రాన you are not a criminal. You can only say that you are accused. So Nagarjuna's name is there in the FIR. You cannot declare, as now Sailaja was telling very clearly. Sailaja, this is a very important point. While reporting in the court FIR na peru undi kabatti, you cannot declare me as criminal. Only the court has the power to declare me as criminal on the basis of the arguments, on the basis of the evidence produced in the court of law. Whereas you can refer me, he is accused, charge undi ayana meeda. Now similarly, like Ashish Kumar, who is that minister's son, Minister of State for Home, his son, he says he was not there. Now somebody has put a video of 20 seconds or whatever it is, where the car hai, wo banda hai, wo abhi nahi mil raha, uska tabiyat theek nahi hai. Minister is defending his son. Very sad state of affairs. Supreme Court has told that if he doesn't come, you give an arrest warrant and bring him to the court of law. So even if he is filed in a FIR, iska naam hai, so media cannot refer him as accused. It can refer him only as accused and not a criminal. You cannot take judgment in your hands. So that is all, as you know, unless proved in a court of law. This is one thing which is minimum that we have got. So many times reporters have, as she said, Sailaja was very apprehensive about penalized for wrong reporting. Yes, Sailaja, if it is a legal reporting, if you're reporting any court cases or anything, quite possible, you may invite contempt of court. Some things which are discussed in the court are, unless జడ్జి ఈవినింగ్ ఇస్తాడు, అతను ఆ జడ్జి ఇచ్చే వరకు మీరు ఆగాలి. అక్కడ అయిన డిస్కషన్స్ బట్టి యూ కెన్ నాట్ గివ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద కోర్ట్, ఇన్ ద పేపర్. వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇస్ డిస్కస్ దేర్, ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ దట్, డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ certain times judge will tell the press people also, this is in camera, this is not to be revealed. So like that he may say also, nothing, who are you to say, నేను సపరేటు, నాది ఫోర్త్ పిల్లరు, నేను మీడియా సపరేటు, వాన్ మాట వీన్ మాట వినే అవసరం లేదు, నాకు ఫ్రీడమ్ ఉంది, 21 ఉంది, 9 ఉన్నాయి, ఇవి ఉన్నాయి, అవి ఉన్నాయి, ఆక్సిజన్. No, you have that certain things as so we go by certain self-regulated code of conduct. So we have to think in those lines, and we do, and we should not invite COC. COC means contempt of court. So no, you may be drawn, they may ask you, they may drag you to court. The judge himself may say, how dare you write this after covering the court case? Who asked you to write this? It is sub judice, and how can you write what judge has not even said? How can you write? He may charge a contempt of court on you, and you have to face the music. So by and large, reporters ఈ కోర్ట్ రిపోర్టింగ్ చేసే వాళ్ళంతా నార్మల్ గా లా బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, లేకపోతే లా మీద థరో నాలెడ్జ్ ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, they do go for this. So I think we have got only 2 more minutes here. Yeah, 2 more minutes. We have the next unit. With this, we have finished. I don't know what is the unit. Let me see. What is the unit number? Yeah, I think I have it here. Yeah.
We're done with 7th unit, sir.
Yeah, 7th unit is over, right? And 7th unit is over in block 3, right? Reporting from assembly and court. So next we have journalistic writing forms. How do you write? Now what we discussed so far, I'll just sum up quickly. We discussed about various forms of reporting. So you can imagine, so a newspaper or a news channel has so many forms of reporting, varying from different areas, and most of these areas are classified actually. So we're at a broader classified levels. That's what we said about this. Now I'm not talking about specialized reporting. That's entirely a different ball of game. I don't know whether it's covered now in BA third year. You may have specialized reporting. I don't know, but that is at that time we'll discuss entirely a different dimension altogether that comes in specialized reporting, be it in BA3 or MA1. So that is also there. Any doubts you have got, you can feel free to ask. Next, we'll go for journalistic writing forms. It's now 11:30 sharp. Any doubt? 1 minute I can take, I think so. Any doubt? Okay,
Yes,
right then. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you. I'm leaving now. Okay, yeah.